Hello, this is Sir Riel, and in this video, I'm going to discuss Chapter 2 for Art Appreciation. So topic to be discussed will be subject and content. So first, let us read the intended learning objectives. So after the completion of the chapter, students will be able to, number one, explain the subject and content of an artwork. Second, explain and discuss on how to present the subject. So first, let us define the meaning of subject, and also let us discuss. The subject of art refers to what the work represents. Some artworks have subject, others do not. So focus muna tayo in defining and discussing the subject. So when we talk about subject, it corresponds to the question, what? It is also the term in art which refers to the main idea that is represented, or sabihin na natin as siya yung focal point ng isang artwork. It can be the essence of the art piece, or and also it is the matter to be described or to be portrayed by the artist. So subject may refer to any person. It can be an object. It can be a scene or any event. For example, we have the famous painting ni Leonardo da Vinci. Can you imagine that? So we have Mona Lisa. So pansinin natin yung painting. Sino ba yung subject or ano ba yung subject na makikita natin dun sa painting na yun? So anything na visible, anything na form na makikita natin dun sa art piece na yon, that is what we call as subject. So sino yung subject? We have Mona Lisa. So again, when we talk about subject, ito yung main idea na nire-represent. It can be a focal point ng artwork, yung essence niya. It is also the matter to be described or portrayed by an artist. Okay, so let us move on. So the art that have subjects are called representational or objective arts. So it depicts objects that are commonly recognized by most people. Pag sinabi nating objective arts, it uses form and concerned with what is to be depicted. Meaning to say, common sense na makikita mo agad, obvious na makikita natin doon sa art piece or artwork. Example, again, yung painting ni Leonardo da Vinci, na Mona Lisa. No? Pwede natin siyang uh, i-example sa objective art. Why? Kasi meron siyang nire-represent. While those that do not have subjects are known as non-representational or non-objective arts. Kumbaga, pag sinabi nating non-representational, wala tayong any references or recognizable objects na makikita dun sa art piece na yon. An example ng non-representational ay abstractionism or abstract. Okay? So next, let us discuss the sources of subject. First, we have nature. So when we talk about nature, this is the most popular source of objective art. An example ng nature can be mountains, trees, animals, seascape painting, cloudscape painting, and etc. Next, another sources of subject, we have people. So when we talk about people, human subjects, whether real or imagined, are the most interesting. Example ng people, painting of a woman or man, sculpture of people. Next. How about this one? We have history. So historical art works depict real events which are verifiable facts that occurred in the past. So ginagamit natin yung ganitong source ng subject for us para ituro kung ano man yung nakalipas. Ano? So example to this, we have the making of the Philippine flag by Amor Solo. So next, we have legends. Artworks based on legends present to viewers of the art something tangible even when unverified. Art brings life to these stories. An example ng mga legends natin, we have Alamat ng Makahiya or can be like this. Si Malakas at si Maganda. Pwede din yung Excalibur. Okay? Next, we have religion. So these artworks are based on the sacred text. For example, the Holy Bible, Christianity, and etc. For religion naman, same lang din for teaching, no? And para ituro sa atin or malaman natin na kung ano man yung paniniwala ng ng bawat relihiyon. Okay? Next, we have also mythology. Artworks can also be based on the stories of the gods and goddesses of an ancient Greece, Rome, Celts, Norse, and the Egyptians. So next, aside from that, I know maraming makaka-relate with dreams and fantasy. So the intrigue of the unconscious also inspires artists to present it through art for others see, relate, and also interpret. Kumbaga, ginagamit natin yung imaginations natin in order for us para makapag-represent tayo ng isang art piece or artwork. So one of the sources of subject, we have the technology. So the modern era with its small buildings and amazing machines are also subject matter for the artist. So an example when we talk about technology, we have cityscapes, pwede yung airplanes, cars, ships, motorcycles, and even robotic technology. Pwede nating example when we talk about technology. Again, what are the sources of subject? We have nature. So common sense naman siya, ano? No need to to elaborate more. We have people, history, legends, religion, mythology, dreams and fantasy, and also technology. So now, let us discuss ways of presenting the subject, such as naturalism, realism, abstraction, symbolism, Fauvism, Dadaism, surrealism, and also expressionism. So first, ways of presenting the subject, we have naturalism. So one would immediately recognize that these images were imitated from the human figure. So let us try to elaborate more what is naturalism. It is a style and theory of representation based on the accurate depiction of detail. Kumbaga, when we talk about naturalism, pinoportray niya yung isang object or yung settings as observed by the human eye. So, ibig sabihin, hindi ito yung tinatawag nating reality. Pinoportray niya lang, imitation, kumbaga. It shows also human feelings and emotions, and it uses natural settings. Again, hindi siya reality, pero imitation siya, kaparehong-kapareho um, nung tinatawag nating realism or reality. So, an example ng naturalism, yung mga Greek art, yung gods and heroes. Kung mapapansin natin, no, kapag gumawa yung tao, nag-compose sila or nag-create sila ng sculpture, same na same kung ano man um, yung reality na meron. And aside from that, another example ng naturalism, yung superheroes, no, even sa mga comic books or even sa films. Kumbaga yung figure ay almost perfect na ginagaya, no? Pero this is not what we call as reality. Pero pinapakita natin dito yung worth or yung halaga na meron yung isang superhero. Again, when we talk about naturalism, um, ang nire-recognize niya dito ay yung reality, pero ito ay imitation ng realism. So next. So we have realism. So this depicts the artist's attempt of portraying the subject as it is. So realists try to be as objective as possible in their subject presentation. Kumbaga pag sinabi nating realism, siya ay accurate, no? Siya ay very objective. An example to this one, photography. Kung ano yung ma-capture natin dun sa event na yon or scene na yon, yun talaga yung nagpapakita, yung art na yun na nagpapakita nung reality na meron doon sa kinuhanan mo na picture. Okay? Another example, yung ating pag nagvi-video film tayo, no? Kung ano yung actual na nangyayari doon sa event na yon, yun mismo yung ating kinukuha or yung reality na yon yung ating pinoportray dito sa realism. So ano ba yung pinagkaiba ng naturalism sa realism? When we talk about naturalism, imitation lang siya from the reality. And when we talk about realism, ito ay accurate, ito ay objective, and ito ay reality na nangyayari in a real life situation. So next, let's talk about naman what is abstraction. So abstract means to move away or to separate from. Abstraction as subject presentation moves away from reality, from presenting the subject as it really is. The artist, so interested in one characteristic of the subject, does not show the subject as seen in reality, but presents it based on his ideas or his feelings about it. So to make it short, when we talk about abstraction, naka-base pa rin naman siya sa real world, pero hindi na siya nagre-represent ng katotohanan na pwede nating makita in an actual real world. Pero connected pa rin siya sa tinatawag nating real world. Pero wala na siyang object masyado. Okay? So, artists present the subject in no way, okay, as an objective fact pa rin naman, but just his ideas or his feelings. Kumbaga, ine-exaggerate natin. Kung ano yung nasa mood natin na gusto mong ilabas sa art piece na yun yung ginagawa mo. Okay? An example ng isang abstract we have here. So next tayo. So abstraction may take the following forms. First, we have distortion, elongation, mangling, and cubism. So when we talk about distortion, this form of abstraction results when the figures have been so arranged that its proportions differ significantly from reality. So this is manifested when the subject is misshapen or it can be twisted out just like this one. Kung makikita natin ito, no? So para saan ba yung distortion? So this is done to dramatize the shape of a figure or to create a dramatic or emotional effects. Distortion. Kumbaga, kung mapapansin natin, hindi naman talaga siya gumagalaw, pero just because uh, twisted out siya, no, nagkaroon siya ng dramatic or emotional effects. So next tayo. Isa pa, we have elongation. In this type of abstraction, the subject is stretched vertically and or some parts lengthened to give the impression of thinness. So kung mapapansin natin, no, nagfo-focus siya dun sa neck. Okay? Pag elongation, ang pinaka-focal point dito ay yung mismong pinapahaba natin. No, ini-stretch natin yung part na yon ng human body or even for animals, no? Example, pinapahaba yung nose or even yung legs. So, next tayo. In distortion again, twisted out for dramatic effects. In elongation naman, ini-stretch natin vertically uh, yung some other parts ng human body to give the impression of thinness. Next. So next we have here mangling. So this may not be so common in paintings, but may be popular in other art forms. It should be art forms, okay? Such as sculpture, theater, and also film. An example of mangling, yung pag nanonood tayo ng uh, mga movies like zombies, di ba? Na yung prosthetic na ginagamit can be example of mangling. I don't know if nakapag-try na kayo or nakakita na kayo ng gano'n, mga parang sugat-sugat siya sa balat natin. No? That is an example of mangling. Next, we also have the last one. For abstraction form, we have cubism. So abstract form is presented through the use of figures, a cone, cylinder, triangle, square, cube, and circle in place of real pictorial elements. So yung mga cubists, ang pinaka-aim nila ay makapagbuo ng form with the use of basic geometrical shapes, just like this one. Okay, so short recap tayo about the abstraction forms. First, we have distortion. When we talk about distortion, tinitwisted out natin or misshapen yung isang art piece for us para magkaroon ng dramatic or emotional effects. We have elongation. Ini-stretch natin vertically yung isang part ng body para makita or ma-emphasize yung thinness. We also have mangling. Not so famous in painting, pero makikita natin siya sa 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 other art forms such as sculpture, film, or even theater. And we also have cubism. We use geometrical shapes in order for us para makapag buo tayo ng isang form or elements. So Next tayo. So let us continue to discuss ways of presenting the subject. Let's start again with symbolism. So when we talk about symbolism, a symbol is defined as a visible sign of something invisible, such as an idea or quality. Kumbaga, when we talk about symbols, no, siya yung art na, kumbaga, as a viewer, makakatch niya yung attention mo to the point na gusto mong malaman kung ano yung mystery behind doon sa art piece or artwork na create ng isang artist. An example to this one ay yung famous na painting nga ni Leonardo da Vinci, which is the Mona Lisa. Okay, kung mapapansin natin, no, napapaisip ka kasi, para saan kaya, bakit niya create yan? Ano kaya yung mystery behind sa symbol na Mona Lisa? Or as a viewer, gusto mo i-uncover yung part na ano ba yung history behind sa painting na to, and etc. Okay? Next, we have Fauvism. So when we talk about Fauvism, this subject presentation was began in France and was the first organized movement in painting of the 1900s. So yung leader ng Fauvism ay si Henri Matisse. Okay, right natin. We have okay. So when we talk about Fauvism, literally means wild beast. Okay. So the Fauves did not express ethical, philosophical, or psychological themes, but painted pictures of comfort, joy, and also pleasure. Kumbaga sa mundo ng Fauvism, they used bright colors that did not reflect the reality. It applied to a surface. For example, yung mga common na nature art painting na pinapalitan ng colors para mas mabuhay yung art piece or artwork. For example, yung puno na common siya ay green, pinapalitan natin siya ng neon green, uh, mas mas buhay na colors like orange, ayan, para mas mapakita yung desire mo, yung pleasure mo doon sa art piece na yan. Another, yung dahon, no? Common na color ay green, pero ginagawa natin mas colorful. That is what we call as Fauvism. So next, we have Dadaism. Coming from the word Dada, isa siyang, yung Dada ay French word meaning hobby horse. Okay. This is an art movement that doesn't follow the traditions and principles in art. It is a revolt against tradition and aims to show the wickedness of society. So, kung mapapansin natin, no, when we talk about Dadaism, yung kadalasan na art piece na ginagawa dito ay nonsensical art movement or no sense. And ang gustong ipakita ng mga Dadaist dito ay yung kahinaan ng society na meron tayo. And aside from that, Dadaists tried to shock and provoke the public with outrageous pieces of writing, poetry recitals, and also art exhibits. Okay? Even though against siya dun sa common na tradition ng art movement, but still, ito ay mako-considered pa rin natin as art. Okay? Next, we also have futurism. When we talk about futurism, this art movement began in Italy. Artists of this movement wanted their works to capture and to capture the speed and force of the modern industrial society. So their paintings and sculptures highlighted the technologies of modern life. Kumbaga pinapakita naman dito yung strength na meron yung society natin. And also, ini-embrace niya yung future age of technology. So next tayo, we have also surrealism. So when we talk about surrealism, uh, it was invented from the word super realism. Kaya naging surrealism. Pwede naman both na tawagin natin siyang surrealism or super realism. So the art movement began in Paris in 1924 by the French poet André Breton. Um, Pakinote ito. So when we talk about surrealism, it emphasized the activities of the subconscious mind. Although most of the surrealist artwork have themes that are violent and cruel. This is how the surrealists shock the viewers and reveal what they consider to be the deep, true, and ugly part of human nature. However, there are also surrealist works that are far cry from cruelty and violence. Pero most of their works ay for cruelty and also violence. And last one, we also have expressionism. When we talk about expressionism, this art movement uh, was begun during the first decade of the 20th century in Germany, where this art style was introduced, and expressionists believe that man needs um, some spiritual rebirth for him to correct defects that ruin the society. Kumbaga, yung style ng art na ito ay, ang dinidepict niya ay yung emotions para maipakita yung emotions or feelings niya, no? Inire-relate niya yon with the art piece or artwork. So, common na example when we talk about expressionism, it involves chaos, some sadness, tragedy, or even defeat. Yan yung mga common na pwede nating i-example when we talk about expressionism. So I think before we have the chapter assessment, let's do have a quick recap, okay? So when we talk about the subject, it refers to the to the main idea. It has something to do with the focal point ng isang art piece. And then art that have subjects are called representational, and those that do not have subjects are known as non-representational. So some sources of subject, we have nature, people, history, legends, religion, mythology, dreams and fantasy, and even technology. So we also discuss ways of presenting the subject. We have naturalism, okay? Kumbaga, imitation from reality. We have realism, accurate, no? Kung ano yung pinoportray ng event or subject na yon, yun mismo yung lumalabas or nakikita natin. Very objective. We also have abstraction, meaning to move away or to separate from. And we also discuss the abstraction forms such as distortion, twisted out or misshapen, elongation, stretch vertically. We also discuss mangling, um, and also cubism. Next, we also discuss symbolism, na when we talk about symbolism, visible sign, pero may something or nag-a-add ng mystery behind the art piece. We also have Fauvism, na gumagamit tayo ng bright colors in order for us para maipakita natin yung comfort, yung joy, and also pleasure. We also have Dadaism, against sa tradition ng art movement, but still art pa rin naman siya na pinapakita yung wickedness ng society. We have futurism, yung advancement ng technology na meron tayo. We have surrealism, pinapakita naman dito yung inner mind or subconscious mind na meron tayo. And also we have expressionism na ini-emphasize naman yung emotions and feelings ng isang artist, like yung subject presented dito ay involved like in chaos, sadness, tragedy, and also defeat. Okay? So let's do have the chapter assessment. So this is formative lang naman, no? Try to answer this one kung may natutunan. So I am going to give you the keywords. Tapos try lang natin mag-answer sa isip natin. First, bright colors showing joy and comfort. So clue, one of the ways of presenting the subject. So correct answer, we have Fauvism. Next, how about gods and goddesses? Ito ay sources of subject. We have mythology. Next, how about subject is stretch under ng abstraction form? We have elongation. How about use of geometrical figures? Okay, we have cubism. How about animals, trees, and oceans? Ano naman ito? What do you think? We have nature. How about commemoration of events? Okay, we have history. How about meaning nito ay happy horse? What is this? We have Dada or Dadaism. How about may tinatawag tayong cat, lacerated, or mutilated? Part siya ng ng abstraction form na not so familiar sa painting, but it can be seen sa movies, sa theater. What is this? We have mangling. So subject presented as is. What is this? We have the reality, or it can be realism. How about sacred text? Under ng sources of subject, we have religion. Next, to separate from, one of the ways of presenting the subject, we have abstraction. How about misshapen or twisted out? For us, para magkaroon ng dramatic or emotional effects. We have distortion. How about meron siyang deeper meaning? We have symbolism. How about an example to this one? We have machines and technology under ng sources of subject. We have, under ng ways of presenting the subject, we have futurism. Okay, so we are done discussing the lesson. Hopefully, may learnings kahit paano. Okay? So, gusto ko lang iwan sa inyo, good content is not storytelling. it's telling your story well. So thank you for listening. So dun sa presentation nyo, I just want to remind everyone na papalawakin natin yung yung ways of presenting the subject. So I hope na makapag include kayo ng other trivias about dun sa ways of presenting the subject. Okay? So good luck to your group presentation. And again, thank you so much for listening. Kung may question kayo, wag mahiyang magtanong. This is Sir Riel, and God bless us all.